What is going on, everyone, and welcome into NHL Best Bets for June 12th, presented by the Odd Shoppers. I'm Keeter Betting, joined by my two co-hosts today. We got Franco the Banker and Gretzky Betskis. We're here to break down our best bets for Stanley Cup Finals Game 4. We're looking for player props, money lines, or totals. We've got you covered. Also, don't forget to check us out on the Odd Shoppers Tails Network, where we're dropping all of our early plays, giving our subscribers a chance to grab the best lines before they move. You can use promo code PUCKS for 50% off your first month. The link for our Tails profile will be in the description of this video. 5-1 so far, not bad. The first 3 games, probably going to have, I think, 2 plays tonight, maybe more. Who knows? But before we get into our best bets, just a reminder, we will be using the Portfolio EV tool from the Odd Shoppers to identify the top EV plays of the night later as well. All right, let's get into our best bets for Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Franco, I think we're going to start with a side here, so I think you're up.
All right, well, I'm just going to paint this picture for you guys, as we like to say.
Here we go.
I think the series is over. All right. Now, I do think Edmonton can maybe get one when they return back home for Game 5, but that game had a lot of red flags for me for why I think just at this point I don't think they have enough to kind of really fight back here. So the play I'm taking is the Panthers in regulation at plus 105. But here's all the reasons why, and you can agree or disagree with me, but here we go. So number one, McDavid took that hit, breaking in the zone about the midway point of the second period. I believe it was Ekblad. Fell awkwardly, went to the locker room, came back. From that point forward, and I was watching him closely because I had his time on ice prop, and we needed one more shot from him. He did not really do much. I would say he wasn't very noticeable for the remainder of that second period. Only had a few shifts in reality in that third period because it just got out of hand, but you wonder, is anything kind of bothering him from that? So right off the bat, your best player potentially injured, kind of big, right? Not to mention Nuge is banged up as well. He got taken off the top power play unit in that game, which is a pretty big red flag for me. Obviously, he's coming into this game as a game time decision, but you're already short Hyman. Now, if Nuge is out or isn't, productive or able to, play with McDavid on that top line gets really ugly really fast if you're missing a guy like that as well. On top
you
of
don't
McDavid
like Connor Brown
looking. No. So, I mean, I have no doubt in my mind that McDavid is going to give it his all regardless of what he's got going on. But still, just, I mean, a slight tweak of anything that if that reduces his speed, not to mention, there was the talk about the ice in Florida. It's still hot there. I'm not expecting the ice to be any better in this game. That, again, negates a little bit of McDavid's speed and ability that makes him such a game breaker. So now you have that on top of maybe a nagging injury, on top of line mates that are injured or Connor Brown. So it's just a lot of stuff that it just takes the power, his superpowers away. I mean, he's a fantastic player, but it's a lot stacked against him, Then we talk about just the depth in general. I mean, Draisaitl had no shots last game. His line mates aren't any better than McDavid's at this point. And then, you're not getting the scoring from the third and fourth line like you were early in this playoffs. And it's funny because there's a lot of people saying that this team had great depth coming in the series and all that, because of the production they had. But I mean, we were talking about before the show, last year, this team was deeper. I mean, they had Ryan McLeod, they had Holloway, they had Broberg. That depth to me,
healthy Hyman,
that depth was way better than this team. Because, I mean, a lot of people are going to point to last year. They're like, oh, well, this team fought back last year, took it to 7 despite going down in the series. But it's not the same team. And like, the more I look at this lineup and what they have done this series, it just hasn't been enough. Arvidsson's coming out this game. I don't know. It doesn't look as pretty as it could for a team that's, fighting to win this thing. So penalties have been massive. The PK for Edmonton has been absolutely dreadful. It has not gotten any better. They lost their cool completely. Florida's completely in their head. Now, obviously, you had a couple of days off to kind of reset and clear your mind, but what happens if a ref makes a bad call early in the game against an Oilers player, like a weak call or something stupid, and they start getting in that thought process again. Like either it's you start to back off, maybe not go in hard on that forecheck or whatever.
Mhm.
All it takes is that little bit of hesitation, or the opposite way where you just get pissed off and frustrated and now you're taking stupid penalties. Either way, it's
Again.
not going to be a good thing. It changes the way and their effectiveness with what we've seen from this team in the playoffs, because they have been almost to the level of what Florida is, like the peskiness and forecheck and hitting and stuff. So Stuart Skinner, bad game last game, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't think he was that bad, honestly. But again, every game, the first period or the first few shots he's faced have been goals against, right? Like I think it's been like 3 goals on 6 shots, 2 goals on 7 shots. If that happens again, like, and I would say overall this series, he's been fine. He's been, we talked about, he's been a non, negative story, which is a good thing for him. But after that game, he gets pulled. The first goal was not ideal. Obviously, the Marchand one, he looked like he was flopping all over the place, right? If he lets in 2 goals on 6 shots in the first period today, what's Knobloch going to do?
Get ready to learn Calvin Pickard.
I mean, at that point, you have to pull him, like regardless of what's going on, right? It gets to be a point where you're like, we can't have this. And he's been fantastic from like the second period on, or like the midpoint of the second period on in the 2 of the 3 games this series. So it's almost like he needs that first period to just end. He needs an opener. He's basically that type of pitcher in baseball that needs an opener. He can't start a game because he just gets shelled. So he needs an opener. He needs Pickard to start in the first, and then he can come in the second and whatever. Yeah. But anyway, and that's again another like potential storyline that could be an issue. When do you start asking that question of like, should we be pulling him out if it gets to be like that? And then they may not even be his fault, but all it takes is you to look at that stat sheet and see 6 shots on goal, 2 against, and you're like, all right, like we can't keep doing this. So that's got to be in his head. That's got to be in the coach's head and the team's head in front of him that's trying to play. Every time that puck gets dumped in, and you have a Florida winger coming in on the forecheck to hammer you. So, and lastly, Verhaeghe and Reinhart finally got off the Schneid goals. Yeah. And, this Florida team's been doing it without them the last few games. Now you have those 2 players scoring goals. We know Reinhart can be streaky. He's a guy that during the regular season had like a 7, 8, 9 game goal streak. Verhaeghe as well, previous playoff performer. If those guys get going on top of the depth that's been scoring, which feels like every game, whether it's Marchand or Bennett, it's just the depth between these two, the difference between the depth. I already talked about Edmonton's lack of it, and this Florida team. It doesn't matter what line you're being asked to like produce. It's coming from everywhere, except for the fourth. But it's scary if Verhaeghe and Bennett can get going in the goal scoring department, because that's just another player to add to the list of anybody else that's been productive for them in this playoffs. So it's just too much. You know what I mean? Like if you take away 1 or 2 of those things I just listed, fine. I still feel like Florida has the advantage, but all those things together cumulatively, it just spells a doom for Edmonton to me. And that's why I think Florida tonight it's too much.
Yeah. I don't think they're dead yet, but yeah. All right, Betsky, what props are you looking at for tonight's matchup?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think as much as I want to hammer big props for the Oilers, it's something I'm not gonna just smash. And the more I think about this game and all those points that Franco just made, like the more hesitant I am. Yeah. I do want to point this out. Florida Panthers puck line for first period is plus 140. So if you think Stuart Skinner is going to be awful again, and that Edmonton it's going to be a little bit neutered and can't find the momentum to push back, I feel like that's a really nice way to potentially take kind of a side here. But I love the Florida reg too. I mean, this doesn't feel like an overtime game. I think this is either Edmonton finds a way to win this 3-1 or something, or it's a low scoring Florida win, like on the opposite side, 3-1. And I think the Edmonton side of that just does not feel right away. But the one Edmonton prop that I think we can all agree on that feels very, very safe, and I would grab it ASAP, is McDavid time on ice, which is set at 22.45 seconds at -130, which is a great bettable price for that. Even if he's a little rattled, there's just no way that Knobloch's not going to be throwing him out as much as he can. He had 20 minutes, 0.9, so almost 21 minutes in a game where he walked off, a game where Edmonton was on the penalty kill for half of the actual game time. And I feel like he probably played a handful of minutes in the third. There's just no way he is going to be not on the ice as much as possible tonight. So I think that's a safe bet. If that line moves up, I feel like I'm willing to take that even closer to what we had for him last game, which was 23.45.
It was 23
24
even.
flat.
It was 23 even. Yeah.
Yep. Granted, their last two games before that were overtime games, so we had 35 and 31 minutes, but there are so many examples of him just cruising past 22.45 throughout the entire playoffs, and this is going to be a little bit of a desperation move for Knobloch to just keep him out there. Also, say what you will about all the penalties. I mean, Edmonton was gooning it up for sure. It would not surprise me if one, we don't see as much penalties called, or two, they get thrown a bone a little bit and we get some early Florida big hits or pushes that get called to try to keep the game a little bit more settled.
Yeah, I think Florida definitely.
The refs do not want that to happen again on either side of this.
Yeah, I think it gets called pretty tight in the first to try to kind of shut any of that down.
Me too.
Yeah,
and I think there may be some soft calls against Florida to kind of lean onto the Edmonton side, like, hey, don't, like, we see you.
Yeah,
but
does that almost open up Edmonton power play points tonight?
I'm a little hesitant on how many penalties are called, period.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair.
I think I texted you guys that like right at the end of the last game. I'm like, they're not going to. They're either going to play really conservatively, both sides.
Yeah.
Or the refs are going to put their whistles away a little bit so people can't point and say they were giving bad calls all night.
Yeah.
Or to get any team too steamed up.
Just a real quick point there. The refs were announced for this game. They refed game 2. There were 4 power play opportunities for Florida, 6 for Edmonton in that game. Each team scored 1, so 10 total penalties. Of course, that was game 2, but just something to consider.
Yeah.
I'm going to stick with the Edmonton theme here, going off Betsky. I'm going to take Evan Bouchard for 4+ shots on goal tonight. It is clear what this power play wants to do. McDavid's clearly that guy that drives it, but the amount of times that they tried to get Bouchard involved at that high point, that shot where Corey Perry is just sitting in front of the net, I think that's kind of how they want to attack Bobrovsky in this series. In game 1, Bouchard had 7 shots on goal on 14 attempts. Game 2, 8 shots on goal on 14 attempts. Game 3, 9 shots on goal on 13 attempts. You can get us 4+ shots on goal tonight at even money on DraftKings. I think he clears it again tonight. I think he stays involved in the offense. And to the same point we brought up before, if McDavid is somewhat limited, Bouchard's really going to have to step up offensively if Edmonton even wants to have a chance in this series. So give me Bouchard at 4+ shots on goal for even money on DraftKings.
He had
Franco. Sorry?
He had 5 shots in the first period last game.
Insane. Franco, any other props that you're looking at for tonight?
Yeah, I think I would look at look at the Bennett point prop again. I think the price is really playable, and I'll probably be a little greedy too and split it and take him with Erod point for plus 200 again. Just a ridiculous price. They're together on the second power play unit, and Verhaeghe's on the top line, I guess, still. So that I like together. Those two pieces together for that price is really good. One more thing too, like Edmonton was taking a lot of liberties late in that game, taking shots on players like Bennett and lots of hits. So kind of another thing to just think about is I think Florida is going to come out a little pissed as well. As much as like, they're happy they probably won that game. I don't think they were, Maurice or the team in general is going to be happy about some of those hits and cross checks that Edmonton was doing. So just a little bit more fuel for the fire there.
Yeah.
Sure.
I agree. And then again, I think that's why we may see a soft call early.
Oh yeah,
to try to nip it.
Yeah, get it early, shut down. Yep.
Bennett is the leader for the Conn Smythe now at plus 105.
Wow.
There it is. Grab him at 600. Last show, so
Marchand's plus 600 and is the second Panther. Bob has slipped to the third.
If you do believe that the Oilers are going to win the series still, McDavid for Conn Smythe is a really nice price right now. Yep.
Yeah.
Just something to consider. I don't know that I do, like I said, but if you do.
I don't think you do. I'm going to go on a limb there and say you don't believe they can come back in the series.
Just giving the people options, like if you want to, I wouldn't take Edmonton on the series to win. I would take McDavid for Conn Smythe.
I think I'd still sprinkle Marchand too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Betsky, any other plays before we hop into the Portfolio EV tool?
No, let's hit it.
All right, perfect. I got one more, actually. Sam Reinhart, 3+ shots on goal. I did want to bring that up, too. He has been terrific at home this postseason. He's only missed in 2 of 5. And then looking at his last few games here, he's hit in every game this series. And Edmonton struggled against Carolina, struggled towards the back half of that Toronto series, but he has really picked it up. His time on ice has kind of followed there as well. You're getting it at a bettable price, minus 145 on DK. If you want to get a little bit spicier, look at FanDuel's 60-minute line. So I like that play a lot. All right, let's hop into the Portfolio EV play, or EV tool, excuse me. Now that we've given out our top plays of the night, it's time to dive into the Portfolio EV tool from the Odd Shoppers. But before we do that, just a quick reminder, you can use our promo code NHLBETS for 50% off this amazing tool. You'll find the link for that in the description of this video. All right, we got a few plays on the Portfolio EV tool tonight, and let's start with the first one right here. Corey Perry, under half a point, minus 136. Franco, we like it?
Yeah, it's a little scary. He's been super productive this playoffs, obviously, but bumped down to the fourth line, it looks like today. If I'm taking this, I would verify that is actually going to be the case. So wait till line rushes pregame.
Yeah, because if Nuge is out, he's probably back up on the top.
Yes, exactly. So just wait, but if it's still available pregame and he's still in the fourth line, that means you're banking on him scoring on the power play, because he's not really the guy that's setting anybody up. It's going to be off a deflection, off his butt into the net, or a rebound that comes off a shot on the power play. Like, that's the only way he's producing a point.
Yeah.
So I think you take away his time on ice, his first line minutes with McDavid, you're really limiting the opportunities for him to produce a point tonight. So I like that they're highlighting that.
Yep. Betsky, anything else on Corey Perry?
Yeah, ditto.
Nice.
No, what we were saying before too is, like, I was hoping you could get this for plus money, the under point, because then you could hedge with a goal. Because he only has 4 assists throughout the entire playoffs. So
you still may be able to.
Yeah, I mean, you could. You
have to really shop around.
Yeah, you would probably need to shop around quite a bit, and I don't know. I mean, you kind of, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just an option.
The other play we like for tonight is going to look at Anton Lundell over 1.5 shots on goal. That's minus 132. So he missed last game, but before that, he had hit in 6 consecutive games before that. I think he gets back to his shooting ways tonight. He didn't even attempt a shot last game, which was kind of interesting as well. He's also been much better at home this postseason. He's only missed in 2 of 7. So every time he's missed at home, he's rebounded the next game. So I would expect Lindell to kind of get back involved offensively tonight for the Panthers. So give me that over 1.5 shots on goal at -132. All right. Anything else before we wrap up?
I may have found a way to get Perry under a point at plus money. You can take him with McDavid to record a point.
There
That
you go.
gets you plus 120.
I like that a lot.
And then you take the goal.
Yep.
Just to hedge.
Then you take the goal as a hedge. Bam. Done.
Perfect. All right, that's going to wrap up today's episode of NHL Best Bets presented by the Odd Choppers. We appreciate Evan for tuning in, and be sure to join us next time for more of our top plays and insights as we break down the NHL slate. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe and use our promo code NHL Bets for 50% off your first month on this Portfolio EV tool. Also, don't miss all of our plays on the Odd Choppers Tails Network, where you can use promo code PUCKS for 50% off your first month. We appreciate everyone for tuning in, and we will talk to you guys next week. See ya.